My name is Reid Yobe. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk to you about breaking the cycle of poverty. Breaking the cycle of poverty. What I refer to as the cycle of poverty is the ongoing nature of poverty, where the conditions that causes it are not easily overcome and tend to be passed down from one generation to the next. There are families that are so poor that you can, just by looking at the family, actually predict what the future of the children will be like. But the cycle can be broken. And this is what I want to talk about in this video. Breaking the cycle of poverty. The one who breaks the cycle suffers the most. They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So there is something about poor people. There is something about them, the way they think and the way they do things. And in order for one to break the cycle, you have to change the way you think and you have to change the way you do things. Breaking the cycle of poverty. The first and most important thing is for you to believe that you can break the cycle. Because you can. Because if you don't believe, it won't happen for you. So the first and most important thing is for you to believe that it can be done. The cycle can be broken. The next thing that you have to do is to change the way you think. Change the way you do things. Because it's a cycle. We don't want this to be passed to your children. We don't want this to be passed down to your children. So it is also important how you raise your children. If you want or if you expect different results, you cannot raise your children the way you were raised. Raise your children in a way that is different from the way in which you were raised. Raise your children in a way that is different from the way in which you were raised. Make sure that you expose your children to environments that are different, completely different from the ones you were exposed to when you were growing up. And the other thing that you must do for your children is the schools that you send them to. Send them to schools that are better than the ones you were sent. In other words, send your children to expensive schools. This is not about the amount of money that you pay, but this has to do with the quality of education that is offered in those schools. That's why those who have got the money, the rich, send their children to those schools. The people who are rich don't send their children to expensive schools simply because they have money, but they send them to those schools because of the quality of education that those schools offer. This is why I said the one who breaks the cycle of poverty suffers the most. Because this is something that you can hardly afford to do, which means you're going to suffer. If you're to ever make a decision to send your children to expensive schools, but you have to be willing and ready to suffer for your children. Because remember, it is not only their future that you're concerned about, but it is breaking the cycle of poverty. I know of people that looked so miserable at a time when they were sending their children to school. The reason they were looking miserable is because they were suffering. They deprived themselves of certain necessities in order for their children to attend expensive schools and get good quality education. I know of people who walked long distances to work. Because the money that they were probably supposed to spend on transport, they decided to add that to the money that they had spared for their children's education. So they decided to deprive themselves of some necessities. Some people would only take maybe one meal in a day, so that they could send their children to expensive schools in order for them to get good quality education. The other thing that you can also do is teach your children on how to make money and manage finances. Teach them while they're still young. Don't wait until they finish school. Teach them while they're still young. Before they even finish school, they must start learning on how to earn money. You can even encourage your children to take online courses on business management and the management of finances. The other thing that you can also do for your children is to encourage them to take courses on personal development. You can also teach your children on how to set goals and working towards the achievement of those particular goals. Jim Rohn once said, if you want things to change for you, you must change. Jim Rohn said, if you want to see how the next 5 years of your life would be like, look at the last 5 years of your life. Unless you change, things will always be the same. So unless you do something about it, you won't break the cycle of poverty. I hope through this video I help someone. My name is Reed Yobe. Thank you.